ADHD comes with an array of difficulties that never seem to end, including mental health issues. These are facts. It's also one way to look at it. You may not know this, but more than 40% of adults with ADHD are in excellent, not good, excellent mental health and thriving. If you're tired of fighting your brain, trying to fit the mold, or fixing yourself, don't go anywhere because I am sharing 3 avenues you can explore to focus more on your strength so you too can thrive with ADHD, not survive. Welcome to Phenomenally ADHD. I'm your host, Zarina, ADHD and Money Coach, unapologetic Gen X member of the Late Diagnosed Club. A few years ago, I came across this statistic about adults with ADHD that got me curious because it confirmed what I myself was experiencing, which was a life that is not that hard, even if I have ADHD. And the most interesting thing was that it was opening up a window that I was already looking through of different ways to look at ADHD, not just the struggles, the difficulties, and, the toll it can have on your life. And it's not that 42% of adults with ADHD that are in excellent mental health don't have challenges with ADHD. But if you sometimes think that ADHD challenges take so much space and you're kind of tired of it, that everything is or feels chaotic, but you want something else, and you're wondering what you can do to change to make things easier, what you'll learn in this episode are different avenues you can choose from to see ADHD more positively than negatively, like a difference rather than a disorder, as a gift, not a limitation, as an ally instead of a nemesis. So you will learn the first avenue is all about thoughts. The second avenue is all about sensations. And the third avenue is all about emotions. So wherever you are on your ADHD path, maybe you figured out what works and what doesn't, and that's totally cool. You understand the challenges, but they still complicate your life. You crave depth, meaning, and genuine connection. You're at a turning point and want more time, calm, clarity, and fulfillment. You have a yearning that screams there's gotta be more to life than this. My mission as a coach is to guide, support, and help you move toward what you yearn for, even if you're not quite sure what it is or how to get there. I'm here to help you ditch the labels and embrace your uniquely wired brain by working with it, not against it. Show you what's possible when you know what to do to amplify your strengths, your talents, and abilities. Help you tap into your brilliance. Design a life where you play by your own freaking rules and you do things your way and transform how you experience life with ADHD. I myself consider myself to be part of the 42% of adults with ADHD in excellent mental health, but it hasn't always been that way. I hit rock bottom in my mid-30s when I burnt out. And at times with perimenopause, I can tell you that I do feel like an emotional, mental, and physical basket case thanks to hormones increasing certain ADHD traits that weren't bothering me before. So today, you'll discover 3 avenues that will help you shift from challenges to strengths focus, because what you pay attention to expands. And if most of what you see and look at are the challenges ADHD brings to your life, well, it keeps you in the loop where all you do really is spin your wheel. And you can choose to stay there because, yes, it's a choice to see everything that's not working, that you're not good at, or that drags you down. But that's not how you can thrive with ADHD. And there are so many other options to get from a place where chaos runs the show to one where you know who you are beyond the label, what you are capable of accomplishing, where you feel most joy and fulfillment, when to use ADHD to your advantage, and why doing things the ADHD way is the only way. Now, knowing that what you focus on expands, wouldn't you rather it be on everything you're talented and gifted in? Things that actually bring your strengths out of the shadow of your challenges, things that puts you in thriving mode. The goal is not to ignore, minimize, deny, or invalidate the toll ADHD can have in someone's life. The goal is to look at things from a different perspective, become aware of what's working, make your inner sage speak louder than your inner critic, acknowledge the perks, and embrace every single facet of your difference. Because when you honor what ADHD brings to your life, you increase the level of trust that you have in your abilities. You stop trying to please everyone. You let go of the need of outside validation and approval. You become mindful of your thoughts, emotions, words, and energy. And you trust and follow your intuition and inner guidance, regardless of what others think. And from the moment I found out I had ADHD, it was all about helping ADHDers who are ready to move towards something, to release whatever is holding them back, the hindering patterns, behaviors, and subconscious programmings. And one of my biggest strengths has always been to be able to dive deep, find the root of what's going on, and help my clients really transform it into something empowering. Like surface work and quick fix solutions don't light me up. They just don't. And what I mean, and again, there's no wrong or right way to go about it. What I mean is that clients who hire me as their coach are done working against their brains because they know it's not working. They are often exhausted, especially women, because they've been coping for years and they want to thrive. They don't want to just trying to get by or cope. They want a life designed around their values, and they also want more out of life. And I'm the bridge that helps them get there. One way I help them focus more on their strengths is with the Sacred Money Archetypes. Not only are they powerful to understand your money personality, story, habits, behaviors, and ADHD challenges with money, they're also a tool that give you the most accurate and mind-blowing portrait of the money codes that are stored in your DNA. And each of the 8 archetypes have specific strengths, and when we match those with ADHD strengths, it creates incredible results and transformation. So you can actually click the link in the description so you can find out more about Unlock Your Financial DNA the ADHD Way, which is the coaching formula I created. Now, the way to shift from challenges to strength focus is really simple things that you can put into practice every day. And the first avenue, thoughts, what I want you to know about this particular option is that thoughts don't always equal the truth. Negative thoughts actually outweigh positive ones. They're automatic. And Dr. Danielle Amen calls them ants. Automatic, negative thoughts. The human brain is actually wired to prioritize negative information because from a survival perspective, it made total sense and it was crucial to identify dangers and threats. But there are also intrusive thoughts that can take a lot of space, especially with ADHD. I'm not good enough. I feel like a failure. I'll never achieve this goal. I feel so behind. I'm so bad at managing money. All I can do is spend money I don't have. When you notice the thoughts you have, you really have two options. Continue on believing and feeding that story, or interrupting the loop and choose a different story to tell yourself. And in order to be able to pay attention to what's going on in your mind, to what your inner critic is whispering to you, and know that what it's telling you isn't the truth, it all comes down to putting things into perspective. Yes, the world wasn't designed for ADHD brains. Brain like yours and mine really don't have it easy. But so many of us, by trying to adapt and navigate our way through a world that makes no sense to us, is actually part, I think, of the problem. The way I see it, and it's my own personal perspective, it might not be yours, but this is what I truly believe. The way we see ourselves, what we feel, think, and believe about ourselves that is completely erroneous comes from the dichotomies between how we see and experience the world and how it is built. Thriving with ADHD stems from doing things in a way that fits your brilliant brain, not adapting. And it's not always easy because we've been conditioned, women especially, to not make waves, to behave, be good, perform, be docile, etc., etc., etc. So the ADHD brain cannot function with a neurotypical brain user guide. It's like using a PC after getting off your Mac and expecting it to give you a user-friendly, intuitive experience. It won't, because it's not designed in the same way the Mac is. And most neurotypical systems fail with brain like ours. So that's why thoughts like, I'm so disorganized, I always arrive late, I can't focus or concentrate, I get easily distracted, I don't finish what I start, well, this, my friend, is a bunch of lies on repeat. That's what it is. That's why focusing on your challenges is a dead end. So here are my coaching tips for you for the first avenue. When you notice a negative thought, and this really requires you to be in your head without getting into the chaos. So just be aware of the train of thought that is actually running around. And I want you to become an attorney on cross-examination and question some more. Who says that thought is true? Usually, it's someone else believing it. And we buy it as our own. What irrefutable proof confirms the thought? There is usually none. Being late is a fact, not a proof. Big difference. And time blindness explains it. So before we move on to the second avenue, I'd so appreciate you doing 2 simple things for me that will make a big difference. First, hit follow so you never miss an episode if you're listening, and hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Also, you might want to share this episode with a fellow ADHDer you care about. You might just make a huge difference in their day or their lives. Thank you so much. This is actually how you can help spread this message and reach more brilliant brains like ours. Second avenue, sensations and signals. What's that? As ADHDers, we sense things that others might not. And of course, it can be uncomfortable, but sensations can actually be signs or signals. They can be interpreted that way, not just ADHD challenges. And because we're not accustomed to them, thanks to being in our heads a lot, well, we might default to thinking that something's wrong. And if you're thinking, okay, yeah, but Zarina, I'm not sure I get what you're saying. Give me a moment. I will give you a simple explanation and example that is going to make a lot of sense, I hope. So you feel something's off. You can't quite put words or your finger on what it is, but you can sense it in your body, a compression in your chest, dizziness or being lightheaded, a sudden, maybe energy drop. That can also be, something that physically happens. What if ADHD challenges such as distraction, lack of focus, or disorganization were signals indicating that you've somehow disconnected from or checked out of your body? Here's an example, and I'm sure it happened to you before. You walk in a room and you don't remember why you went there in the first place. You bang your shoulder on the doorway or your head on something. And you're like, oh my God, I'm so distracted. Instead of interpreting distraction, lack of focus, or disorganization at the first degree, because that's what it is for me, see them as signals or reminders that you need to get out of your head and come back to your body. Take a few seconds, pause, and check in. Acknowledging these different ways of seeing ADHD challenges, really, it's just a way for me to make it a little bit more fun than all the drama it can bring. So here are a few coaching tips that I have for you. When you recognize these sensations, hunches, or short memory lapses, here's what's going to help you not get stuck in your thoughts as much. When you notice a sensation, ask yourself, what would allow me to check back into my body? Is it a breathing exercise? Bringing your attention all the way down to your toes? A body scan? maybe just touching yourself. If you're listening, it might sound funny, but just, like touching your arms, your shoulders, your legs, just to bring your attention back to, oh, okay, I'm physically here and I'm present. All right. Third avenue, emotions are energy in motion. So an emotion lasts about 15 seconds, not 15 minutes, not 15 days, not 15 weeks. But with ADHD comes rumination, that little bugger. And that's where things can really get out of control, and an emotion can last way longer than it should. And there's also the fact that we do feel more intensely. And some of us are highly sensitive, so we need to take that into consideration. But when you think of emotions as energy in motion, that means that it's actually there looking for a way out. It helps to bring things into perspective, and it also helps you become aware of the choice that you have to let that emotion live or be for 15 seconds or less, or decide to nourish it so it lasts longer. And that's not really to anyone's advantage doing that. So instead of feeding it, which is what negative thoughts are going to do, so we're back to the first avenue, it's going to create a thinking feeling loop. And that loop is going to become bigger and bigger and bigger the more you feed the emotion and the more you feed the thought. And unless you interrupt and stop it, well, it's just going to really probably blow out of proportion. So just with those three avenues, I would suggest that you start with first avenue, thoughts that are not always true, and practice that over the next few days just to see, okay, what is the ratio of negative thoughts I have in a day? And don't judge, just notice what's there. And be curious. I always say that we have this amazing asset that comes with ADHD, and that's curiosity. So the more curious you are, the more interesting it becomes. So these three avenues are really there to help you shift from being focused on the challenges and starting to direct your focus and attention on your strength, because there's not one ADHDer that is not good at a lot of things, right? So just play with that. And when you see one of the three avenues showing up, whether it's a thought or a sensation or an emotion, well, just try to identify one strength that you have, one quality that you have, one thing that you like about yourself. What I really like about myself is my enthusiasm. That's something that people always compliment or comment on me. And it just, yes, I am extremely enthusiastic. And maybe for some people, it's too much. But this is who I am. And I like this enthusiasm. I like this bold energy of mine. And that's just one of the many things I appreciate about who I am and ADHD. So that's how we are going to wrap it up. I sincerely hope that you appreciated this episode. And if you did, well, why not forward it or tag a friend so that they can too be hearing this different way of seeing and experimenting ADHD? Because what if that number, like the 42% of adults with ADHD in excellent mental health, increased? Like, I mean, wouldn't that be wild? So until next time, make sure that you keep on rocking that badass and phenomenal ADHD brilliance of yours, sending lots of love your way, and we'll catch you in the next episode.